Alright guys, it's Jahlon with the Paradox Gaming Network, and today we're going to be talking about Ashes of Creation. Specifically, we're going to talk about the creative director letter that came out yesterday. I am going to let you know right away, there isn't a lot of meat to this letter. If you're looking for your meaty Ashes of Creation update, that is in the upper right-hand corner. That is your June update from the live stream. That's where more meat is. And that's not to say there's not some important stuff in this creative director's letter. There's a couple of things I want to scroll through and I want to talk about because they're indicators. And that first indicator is when we get in here and we see that they're doing like a full court press on their social media. They are advancing in all lanes. They're pressing their advantage. They revamped their Instagram and their Snapchat. They're doing almost daily tweets, and they've gotten really good at when they put something out, they put it out on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, their forums. That gives me an impression that they're really confident how their Alpha 1 is going to be received. So they're starting to develop the hype. They're getting ready to let the hype train back out of the station. If they weren't supremely confident about their Alpha 1, they might be like laying in wait a little bit more, keeping their heads down, staying in the weeds. So I'm really confident that they're pleased with Alpha 1. And if COVID wasn't causing disruptions for them, I think we might be seeing Alpha 1 shift to the left, but due to COVID and their move kind of going to the right. Now, if you haven't checked out the 90 minutes of pre-alpha gameplay, you really need to take some opportunity to watch this. I think this video puts to rest the idea that Ashes of Creation is anything but an MMORPG. As we scroll down a little bit, the one date that came out of this letter was when the leaders of men are going to be able to start their alpha testing. Big thing here, I know that there's still a lot of people who are hung up on the fact that in 2017, Intrepid said earliest possible access to alpha. And this argument keeps coming up. And all I can say to you is, in 2016, 2017, when Intrepid did their Kickstarter, they were a very young rookie company, and they lacked one important position. They didn't have a good senior producer with a lot of video game experience. Steven has come right out on the Discord, and he has admitted this. It was a mistake. He didn't hire a producer. Now that they've brought Babbletron over from Blade and Soul, they brought some other producers on. The thing is, they don't want to slam 10,000 alpha testers into the servers and then A, not be getting good data about B, why things break. So I know that's a contentious point. If you want to leave a comment about that below, we can talk about it. Hopefully I can get you to see it my way, or you might bring up something that you convince me. Jumping back into the letter, one of the things they said is, we have successfully moved out of our old studio. And I actually bring this over to a major talking point. The studio should have been discussed a little bit more. I don't think a lot of the gamers understand how important moving from that original studio, the 14,000 square foot studio is, and moving into their bigger studio. I don't think everybody understands why that has been a slow roll for Intrepid. Intrepid had one studio picked. They were going to move into it. Then the company got bought. They were going to move into a different studio. And then the company that owned the building sold the building, and then the new owner said, we don't want to move anybody into that space. Well, every time that happened, Intrepid got set back a little bit. Now that they're finally moving, they can finally start onboarding people. And with onboarding people, I'm going to just go ahead and jump straight ahead to the COVID situation does prevent difficulties onboarding people. And you've all started your job. You know how that goes in. You go into work on the first day. You bring all your paperwork with you. You fill out your forms to get paid. You learn where the vending machines are, where your desk is, where your boss is. Well, a lot of people that are onboarding at Intrepid right now are onboarding virtually, and they're not going to be face-to-face meeting their boss with that handshake until late August, early September. I do want to ding Intrepid for something. I think that they need to take the opportunity to celebrate every time they add a new staff member on. They need to just ask the staff member, hey, can we celebrate your arrival? And if they say yeah, hey, John Smith joins us from what company with what experience, they're going to be doing what for us. I think this is very low threat but high visibility media coverage, and it's just something that the community is going to be interested in knowing. I also think that during the live streams each month, they should do a hail section. I mean, I understand why they don't want to do a farewell section, but do a hail section like this person's joining us, this person's joining us. The community wants to know those things, and even if you can't get them up on your webpage right away, putting them in the previous creative directors letters, let people see that your company was growing. So I think that is one place Intrepid really needs to improve on. They need to celebrate the new arrivals of staff because they're like a year and a half late getting up to their staff size. Flipping back to the full letter, I did like how they did the letter this time. They included a lot of art, and art is an important part of Ashes of Creation. It's probably the best looking game in development. One of the things you see here is they say currently our art teams are refining their pipelines based on the knowledge gathered during the march towards Alpha 1. Flip back over here for a second, and what I want to talk about is, as a process improvement guy, improving your pipelines is very important. Does that mean like the art director now has the right to final approve? What did you do? Like, give us more than 10 words. Nobody likes a 10-word answer. We want a little bit more. So I think in the future, when they do this, what they need to do is they need to break out art team and then engineering team and QA team into 3 sections, because when you only write 2 sentences in a section, it motivates you to like robust that up a little bit. With the engineering side, they said that much of the last quarter revolved around fleshing out functionality of key systems, and that is so important. People are talking about how they see the caravan example, but it looks like forced or faked. The caravan system is one of the 7 meaningful PvP activities. People really want that system to work well, but on the engineering side, one of the things they talked about is so important. They talk about optimizing server performance, download, and the patching process of the game client. This is one huge black eye from Intrepid. They had a patcher during APOC that was so unreliable. They had to give people instructions into 7 different files on their computer to make sure were emptied and deleted, and then you had to reattempt to install. They cannot go into Alpha 1 in that state. If the patcher doesn't work prior to going into Alpha 1, they cannot go into Alpha 1. You can't be expecting 10,000 people to all have the skill sets necessary to do manual registry edits. And if they are in that case, it's going to be a huge PR nightmare. All it's going to take is for a couple of people to get their computer screwed up and complain on a media site, and then that's going to catch, and you're literally going to get the statement, what? How can they build a game? They can't even build a patcher. Jumping back into the letter, like I said, I'd like to see the headings get put in, because the QA team has been hard at work at cataloging bug reports for the developers, but the QA team is a very easy place to grab like meaningful metrics. How many bug reports did the Phoenix Initiative people put in? How many were validated? How many were found to be valid? How many would you consider are major? How many have been closed? How many remain open? That's a nice, easy stoplight chart that you can put together in probably less than an hour, I would say, that you could say, hey, thanks to the PI guys, we found this many things wrong. It's also great if you start doing that now with a metric for your QA team, because then as you have 6 more of these letters, 7 more of these letters before you go live, you can show people the downward trend of we have almost no bug reports coming in. So that's just something I think maybe Intrepid would want to consider. I think it would bring a lot more confidence to people knowing, yes, the QA testing is pretty robust. As we scroll down, we see the early housing footage video, and then I noticed when I scrolled up, the freehold video didn't seem to make it, and I don't recall the freehold video ever getting loaded independently. Not that that's a huge deal, but it only becomes a huge deal because they said, yeah, let's get that loaded to YouTube, and then it never happened. And that freehold video was great. That was a polished total video that should definitely be up on YouTube. As we go through, design has been tirelessly focused on the implementation of the node system, the population of the world, fleshing out the archetypes abilities. So those are all important. But the really important line I bet you most of you skipped over was, as I mentioned early in the development, many of the Alpha 1 and some of the Alpha 2 content will be placeholder in an attempt to keep the experience of beta and launch unspoiled. They don't want everything in the game to be mapped out to the last gene before the game even gets into beta. With that said, keep in mind when we move into the fall, combat will be heavily emphasis for data collection and player feedback. 2 things on this. Number 1, the community wanted the MMORPG and they wanted it now. So Intrepid's actually moved that ahead of Castle Siege testing and Horde mode, which was going to produce more combat data. So keep that in mind, why the combat might not be fully flushed out. Also keep in mind, you are entitled to have the opinion, this combat sucks. But just realize that feedback is absolutely meaningless feedback. If you just say this combat sucks, great, that's your opinion, move on. If you're a tester or you're a reviewer and you say, this combat sucks, why? I'll give you an example. This combat sucks because the action combat damage is way overtuned compared to the tab damage. Okay, that's meaningful feedback. The combat sucks because tab target characters have near 100% accuracy and they never miss. That's meaningful feedback. If you think the feedback's good, don't just say the feedback's good. Say the feedback is good because. Why? With that said, one of the things that does impress me about Intrepid, they stopped selling cosmetics, so they stopped rotating the pre-order sales because they said, hey, we don't want to put people in a situation where they have to decide between food and buying cosmetics. It also lets me know that Intrepid's not hurting for money. A studio that's hurting for money would constantly be continuing to rotate the packs because they need to get that income. The fact that Intrepid was able to just stop rotating the pre-order packs, they're probably making a lot less sales. That lets me know that unlike some people who are making a big deal about some of the financial hardships Intrepid's about to face, I don't get any indication of that. In fact, I get a pretty good indication they're not struggling financially because they're not rotating packs. Finally, I talked about it in the last video. Make sure you stop right now and make your account if you had not made an Ashes of Creation account. Down in the description below is my referral link. You want to make your account before September 7th because you want to get this statue in game. It is a commemorative piece to kind of show the struggle and the unity of humankind due to the real world COVID event. So it says a lot about Intrepid that they're taking the time to do that. And they're not selling extra cosmetics. Pretty good, indicator of their character. To close up the letter, what they had, or what I think they should have talked about was what's going on with Xsolla and why are they still the payment processor 15 months later? What's going on with meaty Games and why can people not make sales there? Some of those bits and pieces. What about the referral program? Why are you not seeing your sales and your trends? So I think there's a lot of things that they've talked about in other creative directors letters that what they did is they opened an item and they haven't come back and closed the loop with people. And I think those things should have been talked about. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm definitely going to try to get answers for those. Because on July 8th at 1300 Pacific, I will be interviewing Steven. So you can bet Xsolla and the referral system in meaty Games, those are all going to be questions I ask because those are like outstanding items. And with that said, guys, that is it for today. Make sure you check out Ashes 101 for all of your Ashes of Creation needs. My referral code is in the description below. If you haven't signed up for Ashes, sign up today. And if you need more help, I am Jahlon, #0001 on Discord. You can find me day and night. Ask me anything you want. Down below, there's a whole bunch of other places you can find me, social media and stuff. If you like the video, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you don't miss when I put other stuff out. And until then, guys, you enjoy your summers the best you can with the COVID pandemic, and I will see you on July 8th for that interview.
What are you still doing here? Nobody ever stays this long. This is the end screen. Well, since you're here, there's a couple other videos I think you should check out. And all those names, those are my patrons over at Patreon. I couldn't do this without them. So, big thanks to them for all their support.